Senator Young, we know where he is.
Talk about agrivoltaics, this is the other one.
Okay, let's get going. We have an hour to get through some stuff here. I don't have my glasses. Was it something I said? Okay, all right. Let's get rolling here. Let's start with 858.
858 is the gaming electronic instant bingo machines expansion bill. If you'll recall, this deals with the 6 grandfathered licensees that have electronic instant bingo. As the bill came in, the licensees who were under 200 machines would have been allowed to go to 199. You have a reprint in front of you with a chart behind it, and that is the new level of machines that each entity can go to. You can run through it, or you can look at the chart, whatever the preference is.
Yeah, if you just give a quick look at the chart, the bottom line is that was hoping to just make a modest effort. Some of these groups I know would like to a lot more, and they would like to expand some more with this modest effort, give them an opportunity at least to have a few more offerings, different kind of offerings at their facilities. Any questions?
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Senator Jackson, you want to be on this bill?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, anybody's welcome to, but we're not taking up the bill that Senator Jackson had, and want to give him the opportunity to be on it. Huh? You know, everybody wants something different. This probably doesn't make anybody completely happy. And that's probably maybe the sign of success sometimes. Okay?
The chair is happy.
Okay, very good. All right, now let's go to 8:11.
Actually, if we can do 12:05.
Oh, 12:05, okay.
All right. So you guys do have a reprint on your desk for House Bill 1205. I believe the idea would to vote both bills and make the Senate bill match. So what you've got before you is budget and taxes piece of cybersecurity. The reprint, I do have some notes in the columns as usual to help walk us through it. One thing I'm just going to say right now, as this came in, you guys heard a lot of testimony about Maryland Stadium Authority and bonding authority to provide, computers and hardware and stuff like that. That is all out of the bill, so you will see that all struck. So what these amendments are here before you are proposed by Senator Hester, the sponsor of the Senate bill. Generally speaking, it deals with cybersecurity assessments as well as some procurement. So beginning on hand numbered page 3, this deals with any large public sewer system that serves the state would need to do a cybersecurity assessment. At the bottom of the page, there is a new fund that is created, the local cybersecurity support fund. Page 4 lists the purposes of the fund. Generally speaking, updating current devices, looking at new hardware, outside vendors for security, cybersecurity training, vulnerability, and assisting local governments for applying for federal cybersecurity preparedness grants. At the bottom of the page, you can see it just consists of money appropriated in the state budget. Top of page 5 just basically repeats the uses of the funds. And then you'll notice kind of towards the bottom of the page, Roman numeral 3, the fund can also be used for administrative expenses. Then in order to be eligible to receive money from this fund, a local government needs to provide information to do it, that they conducted a cybersecurity preparedness assessment in the past 12 months, or going to page 6, they need to undergo a cybersecurity preparedness assessment under those things. So one little text, some words were left out of this. The paragraph number 2 should read, undergo a cybersecurity preparedness assessment within 12 months. The next couple pages is Stadium Authority struck, beginning back on page 9. This is a defined term for cloud computing that'll come into play later on when we hit page 22. On page 11, this all deals with the Department of Information Technology. At the top of the page, this is just an additional, for every agency, we list the responsibilities of the secretary. So this adds one responsibility for the Secretary of DoIT. Then the next several pages will be dealing with a new commission, calling it the Modernized Maryland Oversight Commission. The purpose are quite lengthy. You can see those itemized at the beginning, bottom of page 11. Then the membership begins on page 12, going to 13. One thing to note is just the co-chairs of the joint committee would be advisory, non-voting members of the commission. That would be the only legislative connection. Next, the requirements of what the commission needs to do. Basically, it's about a roadmap, strategies, any sort of investments that need to happen over time, and then making recommendations. And finally, on page 15, it's a report. Then getting into the part of the bill that deals with cybersecurity assessments and preparedness of state units, which I will say is just executive branch units. First off, this section of what I'll be talking about does not apply to these listed entities on page 15. Basically, the department would have to hire an independent contractor, or more than one if need be, to do an assessment every 3 years on cybersecurity and infotech systems within each unit, as well as developing a framework for investments for a long-term, roadmap I will point out that bills that came out of EHE yesterday, those assessments were required to be every 2 years, so currently there is a conflict. Page 16 lists the criteria that needs to be included for this framework of moving forward, then requires a report. Again, on page 17, it's more striking in the middle of stadium authority, then some other striking just because it's the same fund, it was just moved to a different place in the bill. So the next part is on page 20. At the very top, this just adds this new fund to the list of entities where interest earnings need to stay with the fund as opposed to the general fund. Then moving into some procurement issues at the bottom of page 20. This is for contracts valued at below $1 million. That it's through DGS and not the Board of Public Works. And then they need to follow that up with a report on contracts that fall within that minimum. Page 22, pardon me. This sets up, again, taking DO-IT kind of out of the authority of the Board of Public Works and instead giving them independent authority to engage in or control procurement for these 4 items listed at the bottom of the page. You can see this is where the defined term of cloud computing equipment comes into play. The final page of the bill is page 23. A couple different sections. One is authorizing the dedicated purpose account to fund this bill. Second is for 2024 to basically replenish the dedicated purpose account based on a certain amount. And then finally, making this bill an emergency measure.
Senator Rosebeth?
I'd like to ask a question without agreeing to manage this on the floor. I just want to make that clear as we open this up. Because I really don't
It's
know.
too late. As soon as you hit that
I
button.
think,
you
no,
became
really, I
manager.
mean, it's like, oh, I know so little about this. I had some sympathy for some of the debate on the floor this morning.
I tell you what.
Go ahead.
Assuming we pass this, what I would like to do to help avoid some confusion is immediately send it over to the minority leadership and to Senator Jennings so that they have it as soon as possible. Because clearly people have knowledge beyond what we have, or maybe some of you do, but what I certainly have and what.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah, so,
I just asked a question with the same caveat that Senator Rhodes. Just quick to know, this is a part of this is one of several bills that are a part of a package, and this one, we are primary on it because of the funds that were initially.
Because of the Stadiums Authority provisions, I
Yeah.
believe is why you were initially primary. There is no secondary committee either.
I would like move to recom.
Yes,
Never mind, I'm on camera, let me stop.
did you want to ask your actual question?
Yeah, I did.
At your own peril?
A couple actual questions. And maybe Erica is up in this and maybe she's not. Do we have some other people here?
We do.
Oh my gosh,
Indeed,
we have a whole
do.
team.
We have a whole team, plus we have someone from the governor's office as well representing
Excellent,
DO-IT.
okay, well, then I'd
So
ask you
just-
for whoever knows the answer.
Exactly,
Could
yep.
someone just summarize how this bill fits in with the other bills from the other committees? Great, thank you.
So this is Ricky Duncan. He does all of our fiscal notes for information technology, so he has written them all for all of the bills.
Great.
That being said, I've only seen the reprints from EHE this morning, and I haven't really had the time to digest them yet and to see exactly what they do. So sort of the original idea behind the bills came out of our Joint Committee on Cybersecurity, IT, Biotechnology.
Right.
And over the interim, the Maryland Cybersecurity Council, which I believe Senator Lee is on, it's a bunch of state leaders, representatives from agencies and stuff, had an ad hoc work group to sort of study broader cybersecurity issues. And out of that work group came a big report with, I believe, 42 recommendations of kind of ways to improve cybersecurity in the state. So the idea behind the original bill set was to break things into three categories. There was House Bill 1202, which was going to focus on local issues specifically. House Bill 1205, which was kind of a focus on funding. And House Bill 1346, I'm sorry, I don't know what the Senate cross-file equivalents are,
That's
which
okay.
was going to focus more on state issues. So the problem came in that the agencies that already exist and the entities that already exist within the Department of Information Technology, which are the Office of Security Management and the Maryland Cybersecurity Coordinating Council, which is MCCC, which is different than MCC. We could do better at acronyms maybe in the future.
Okay.
So they don't exist in statute. So in any situation where the bills are trying to sort of give them new responsibilities or new things to do, we sort of have to recreate them in all three
got you.
bills.
Uh-huh.
So there's a lot of duplicativeness across all the bills
Okay.
that might be a little confusing to really get your head around. But sort of in essence, you know, that was the intent of the original
Okay.
set of bills.
That's helpful. And so there are these three bills that are in fact moving forward? This is, two are on the floor now, and this is the third, so this is the.
Yep.
So more or less, at least the vehicles are going the way that was intended by when we started the process. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
This goes to budget. I know the money comes out of the dedicated purpose account. We put aside $200 million.
Nope. It's, so we,
And it turns out.
110?
yeah.
Okay. Follow the P. But do we have any idea what the costs are going to be of doing what is laid out here?
So, yes and no. This is a hard question. So, I think kind of the most important and pressing issue that the ad hoc work group identified was that we don't really know our current state of being as far as cybersecurity is concerned.
Our state of,
Our state of just like what the state of cybersecurity is, kind of in a broader sense. Like, DoIT has like their hands in a lot of things, but kind of the two big issues are that we haven't had any cybersecurity assessments, which are kind of like the gold standard of figuring out where you have issues and vulnerabilities and
Yep.
being able to address them. So as far as I know, no state agency has ever had a cybersecurity assessment. There was money in the dedicated purpose count last year to do them, but I do not believe that they actually got done. So
Okay.
of that 110 million that's in the purpose count this year, 10 million is specifically for cybersecurity assessments for state agencies.
okay?
So every time, you know, I think in the bill before you, it requires an assessment every 3 years. So effectively, that's going to be $10 million every 3 years.
Okay.
Or over time, DoIT might kind of stagger it, do 3 in the third,
I understand.
you know, yearly. So that's a big kind of important ongoing step.
Could I ask you a question about that?
Yes.
Does that include sort of non-state agencies like the university, like the stadium authority, like other folks?
I do not believe so, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
Okay. Okay.
So generally with these assessments, like, they can be very expensive, but sort of the standard cost is like, if you just wanted one for your personal computer, it might be a couple $1,000, and for bigger, more complicated systems, you know, sort of the high end before you get really high end is about $100,000.
I got you. I understand.
So there's about 140-ish unique state systems, you know, times an average of somewhere
I
between.
got you. No, I'll
yeah.
take your word for it.
Gotcha,
I got
gotcha,
that.
gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's part of the issue. The other issue is. That's exactly the other issue. Is that a lot of state systems are sort of outdated.
Right.
You've heard Senator Hester and, you know, a lot of folks in the cybersecurity realm talk about legacy systems.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's the part that we really don't have a good handle on yet. Over the summer, DoIT was trying to sort of work to inventory all the state systems and figure out, like, which are the oldest and most vulnerable systems, and trying to, like, think of ways, like, how much it would cost to actually
I got
upgrade
you.
them.
And so the other 100 million, not the 10, but the 100 is sort of down payment on dealing with the legacy system issues? Is that the
I
way to
think
about it?
so, and kind of just other general cybersecurity concerns.
And who is going to decide how the $100 million is prioritized? Just DBM because they do that all the time, or DoIT, or?
That I do not know. Oh,
Thank you. So, two points. The $100 million that is in the dedicated purpose account, the language that's attached to that in the bill, in the budget bill, says to modernize, strengthen, and expand Maryland's cybersecurity infrastructure, threat response, and other related activities. Funds may also be used to support major IT development projects.
Okay, so it's pretty much.
Pretty broad.
We'll
Yep.
describe.
Also, you had asked about the assessments, and the 3-year on page 15 of your reprint. It lists the agencies that are not included in that requirement.
Oh, page 15,
Page 15.
and big picture, who are they?
Port Administration, UNSM, Higher Ed, Stadium Authority,
Gotcha, I see.
Community College elections,
I got you,
in
okay.
terms of who the independent contractor would be required to assess.
I got you, okay. I'll take a breath.
Senator Corman?
Yeah, thank you. Kind of on the same lines of the question that Senator Roosevelt was asking with the funding, I appreciate some of that clarification, because I did answer some of it. But so there's the 100 or 110 million there now. I guess my question is, the bill speaks about, it's a standard language about a fund, money will be put in there. Going forward, like when that 100 million is exhausted, or however it becomes exhausted, how does the fund get replenished?
So right now, that local fund has no money.
Okay.
It is not, it does not say.
That's not part of they don't get any money out of the 110 pot.
So they could, in that, the very last page of the reprint, it says for fiscal 2023, funds from the dedicated purpose account may be used to implement this act. But it still
Gotcha.
would be a choice, and it would still have to go through the process of getting money out of the dedicated purpose account.
So it's kind of stuff that way, because again, back to your point, we don't know what everything is, I guess.
And that's part of the issue that, a lot of people over the summer and over the last 4 years have been, we've been asking that question. And it's such a big question.
Right.
And I believe DoIT has been working on it, but it's just, there's a lot of agencies. I don't think every agency sort of works together with DoIT super well. There's miscommunications, there's issues.
Okay.
It's just kind of a huge question to really grapple with.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Senator Salling?
He kind of answered that, because I was just wondering, if throughout the state of Maryland, there's state agencies, there's local agencies, you have the city of Baltimore, you have so many different ones, and I'm assuming they're going to see and look the different ones that are out there, so they can be assessed and be a part of this?
The assessment language is only for units of state government, which
That's
is
it.
executive branch.
Okay, thank you.
But to access funds from this local fund, the local entities themselves need to determine and do an assessment.
Okay,
But the
no matter what
3-year,
they
but the
have to.
3-year thing is not put on the locals in this bill.
Okay, thank you.
And if I could expound just for a moment on your question. So over the summer, the Joint Committee heard from a lot of other states about what their practices, what their procedures, what their processes were, and including the National Association for State Chief Information Security Officers, NASIO. Glad I got that out. And sort of, a lot of their recommendations were, you need centralization, you need the state involved in sort of a lot of the processes, you need everyone to kind of be on the same page and working together. And then the MCC report that came out, that was sort of, all of their recommendations sort of were working towards that goal. And so the ultimate state of the bills were also kind of working towards that goal, like, how do we create a relationship between the locals and the state government when it comes to cybersecurity? And so that's where the idea for the local sport fund is like, well, maybe we shouldn't be telling the locals what to do at this point, but I believe the House thought, this way they can get some skin in the game, do a cybersecurity assessment, work with the state to improve things and have access to this funding, was, I believe, the reasoning why they did that.
Senator Roosevelt?
Yeah, so maybe I missed this, I apologize. So money for the local fund would come out of the 110 million?
Erica?
It could, based on section 2 of the bill.
Okay, but there's no other money for the local fund? It either comes
Not
out of there,
identified.
or the governor puts money in the budget?
So,
Yeah,
however,
yeah, sorry.
yeah, I believe there is about $20 million, I think, is that right, coming from the federal government in the infrastructure
Oh, I see, we can take
Bill,
federal money into it.
that is supposed to be actually, I think, passed through to the locals.
I see.
Is that accurate?
That is accurate.
Okay, thank you. The second question is, there's reference in the bill or the amendments to local water systems. And I'm trying to understand the local water systems in relation to the local fund, in relation to the everything.
That, I'm not sure I can answer that. It's proposed by the sponsor of the bill, and it just wants the water systems, presumably from, you know, a perspective of their importance to the infrastructure, and if
Sure.
they're hacked and
No,
all
no,
that
no,
kind of
no,
stuff.
I get the danger, but.
Yeah.
But that's the one area in this bill where we're putting some requirements on local agencies. Is that a fair description?
If they receive financial assistance from the state, then they need to assess their vulnerability and develop a security plan. The administration may provide financial assistance in order to do this.
But, so I'm not against it, it sounds like a good idea, but it's a regulatory requirement on local water systems that get state aid,
Yep.
but not on any other local agencies that get state aid. Well,
Not in this bill.
I understand, that's
Yeah.
okay, I understand. Is any, again, those who know the other bills, what else is related to local governments in the other bills?
So somewhere in one of the bills, and I can't pinpoint exactly where, and I think I read this morning in the reprints from the House bills, there is a requirement for local governments to either annually or biannually or triannually do cybersecurity assessments.
Got it.
I think that is still in one of the other bills.
Okay, all right.
Otherwise, the bills generally don't require local governments to do a whole lot. It requires them to report when they have cybersecurity incidents as kind of defined by the state CISO. And it requires them to kind of work with the Department of Emergency Management and Office of Security, or not specifically the Office of Security Management, but some agency within DO-IT that specializes in response. I can't remember exactly what it's called.
Okay,
at this
I got it, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Other questions? Is there a motion on this bill?
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Okay,
And then, I don't know if you
Oh, go
want to
ahead.
do the Senate bill.
yeah.
If you do the Senate bill, there is a request here from Senator Hester's office to add Senators Hershey, Jennings, Jackson, Rosa Pep, Lee, and Watson as sponsors to Senate Bill 811.
That's nice.
Senator Jennings wants to be on?
Yes. I move the amendment.
What's that? Anybody who wants to be on it, raise your hand. I guess we're doing it.
Was that
Might as well go in
everybody?
for, everybody in? Senator Jackson? No. All right. Well, it's gonna be easy for me to pick somebody then to do this on the floor. Oh, my goodness. All right, we voted already, yeah.
Not on
yet?
811.
Not on the Senate bill. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. All
Yep.
right.
You do that right now?
7:25.
Well, thank
Okay, you have
Mr.
a reprint
Chairman.
on your desk for this one as well. Let me just shift gears here. Okay.
Thank you for being here. Thank you.
All right, so for this bill, these are amendments that I believe have been worked through between both sides of the street. Beginning on page 4, so just for ease of amending, I struck everything and then put it all back in. So this deals with, creates a new childcare grant program valued at $3.7 million. This would be providing grants to providers that specialize in childcare and early childhood education to kids under the age of 6 with developmental delays, physical disabilities, or delays in social, emotional, or behavioral functioning. On page 5, it talks about the funding. Basically, for 3 years, it would require an appropriation of $3.7 million. That amount is already in the fiscal 2023 budget. In terms of making the grants, these are some numbers here that look a little intimidating, but what it's doing, currently in 2022, the existing providers received $1.283 million. So this provision here in D2 Roman 1 ensures that that level of funding remains in the future years. Then, because 3.7 million allows for, is an additional infusion of money, this would require that 1.9 of that to also be provided to those same providers, just for additional services and the additional needs of the kids. Then finally, this would reserve $500,000 for new providers or new enrollments. Now, if that 500 isn't used, then it would go back to the existing providers. So the full 3.7 would be provided as grants under this bill. Then finally, there's a reporting requirement on here and authority for the department to adopt regulations.
Okay, we all got that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Senator King,
Yes.
did we get that Carroll County letter? On the next bill, I'm sorry. 945.
I think that's one of their bills.
Oh. Did we get the Carroll County letter yet?
Yes, we do have the Carroll County letter.
All right.
HB 945 is another local gaming bill. This one deals with raffles. So in Carroll County, if you're doing a multi-draw raffle, you are limited to only 30 weeks. The bill would allow the multi-draw raffles to go on for 52 weeks and would also allow the major prize to, the major prize right now for the multi-draw raffle is capped at $1,100. This would repeal that cap, allow the multi-draw raffle to
Okay, all those in
basically
favor?
continue.
Aye.
Opposed? 1380.
1380, you all are secondary on this, it's a bill from EHE. The bill would specify that with respect to any state program of benefits, rights, or privileges applicable to a veteran under Maryland law, honorable discharge would include discharge that is less than honorable due to the sexual orientation or gender identity of the individual, or if the individual was discharged based on a statement or consensual act of the individual being discharged. The reason I believe it's secondary here is because federal money would flow through based on the federal discharge status, and so with this change, some of the benefits may need to be done through general funds, although Veterans Affairs advises they can absorb the costs.
Okay, is there a motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, goes over to Hill. We're gonna do them,
Not yet.
we'll get them all. Yeah, we'll get them all, don't worry. We got plenty of time. 1398, we've got the letter on that one yet? Senator? Got the letter? Okay, great.
We're doing 1398?
Uh-huh.
All right, so House Bill 1398, basically 10 years ago, a property tax credit was done for residents of Baltimore City. It was set to terminate. This bill repeals that termination.
All's in favor? Opposed? 449.
That's me. All right, House Bill 449. I don't think it was a cross file. Yeah, nope, not a designated cross file. Right, so this one deals with the renter's property tax credit. It's gonna sound familiar, but everything that sounds familiar was applicable to the homeowner's tax credit. This is the renter's. What it does is says, if you're at least 70 years old and you are eligible for the property tax credit, that the department can accept an application within 3 years. So, it's similar to some of the other tax credit programs of a grace period.
Yep. All's in favor? Opposed? $723.
Bill 723 is a cross-file to Senate Bill 461. This was a procurement cleanup bill, and based on the committee's vote today on House Bill 1205, there was some interplay between these. As introduced, House Bill 1205 was making some changes to do its procurement status as one of the primary units. Since that is not happening in 1205, for these para bills, Senate Bill 461 and House Bill 723, you would want the Senate version favorable as passed. So you would want to amend House Bill 723 to restore it to its original status so that it matches Senate Bill 461 as passed unanimously by the Senate. I do have amendments to that effect that Kim can pass out.
Okay? Senator Griffith says yes.
Yes.
Griffith says yes. We all say,
This 461 was the procurement cleanup bill that we passed unanimously. It got amended with some cyber amendments, and then 723, the House version of the bill, was sent over with those same amendments. So we're trying to go back
Right.
to the original bill.
So-
that we all passed.
Yeah, so in the reform a few years ago, Do It was removed as a primary procurement unit, and there were some cleanup provisions in these two bills because, as passed by the House in House Bill 1205, they added Do It back in, but the amendments you all just adopted changed Do It to DGS, which is the current status.
okay, as amended. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, Senator Griffith?
And then on Senate 461, to be consistent, you would move to not concur.
Okay. All those in favor will not concur?
Aye.
Okay. 76, HB 76.
So HB 76 also is a cross-file to Senate Bill 264. It is identical to Senate Bill 264 as it passed the Senate.
All those in favor? Opposed? Senator Elfreth? Senate Bill 38. Or House Bill 38, excuse me.
House Bill 38 reauthorizes the Maryland Transportation Authority to recall delinquent accounts from the Central Collections Unit, and then prohibits the Central Collections Unit from collecting on the debt that was recalled from, by the MDTA.
Was this a, we didn't have a match on this, did we?
This did not have a match on it.
Say that again, then?
The bill authorizes the Maryland Transportation Authority to recall debt that it's assigned to the Central Collections Unit, and then it also prohibits the Central Collection Unit from collecting on the debt that's been recalled. So they can say there were mitigating circumstances that caused us to put this debt into collections, and now we're going to ask for the debt to come back, and we'll, if they forgive it, or if there's a reason that there was a mistake, that the debt shouldn't have been put into collections, it allows them to pull it back, and then CCU can't collect on it.
Senator McCray?
This is a very important one. They had this ability to do that, and then what happens is the ability got sunset. So during the pandemic, we never really addressed the issue, and especially with this whole Easy Pass debacle, it becomes even more important.
Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? Senator McCray. All right, we have some concurrences. Senate Bill 247.
All right, Senate Bill 247, this is the one where you guys added the 10-day notification for reduction in assessments. The House, last time you guys saw this was doing a technical change on the House bill of changing department to appeal authority in terms of who's doing the notification. The House did the same thing to Senate Bill 247.
So they put it the way we did it,
Correct.
essentially.
Yep, they now match.
All those in favor of the concurrence? Opposed? 310.
All right, Senate Bill 310. This was dealing with the Anne Arundel County and City of Annapolis Small Minority Women-Owned Business Account. What they did is, the thing that they added was requiring the department, which would be Commerce, to ensure that the financial assistance provided under this section does not exceed the amount of money distributed to the account from the proceeds of VLTs located in Anne Arundel County.
All's in favor? Opposed? Okay, 474.
All right, 474, this deals with the Western Maryland Economic Future Investment Board. The House did two things. One, it renamed it for Senator George C. Edwards.
When we go to conference.
And then two, in terms of the funding for that fund, it would be, well, first of all, let me say, in fiscal 2023, it received $20 million. So this bill now deals with fiscal 24 through 26, and for each of those years, it would receive $10 million.
Okay. All's in favor? Okay. All right, 567.
All right, 567, this one was the property tax agricultural use assessment. The House basically struck the provisions of the bill and instead had it be a study and a report on the assessment of agricultural property in terms of accessory uses.
Senator Elfreth.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I'd like to thank the committee for your patience as we work through the details of this bill. Unfortunately, without enough cooperation from SDAT, we weren't able to get it across the finish line this session. That's why we're putting the study in place, and we will hopefully come back next session with a comprehensive answer. And in the meantime, I just want to, on the record, say I hope our local farmers aren't going to get hit too badly in the meantime. But it's priority number one next session, based on the study. Thank you.
Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? All right. Yes,
We got one concurrence that just came in.
I'll take it.
All right. Senate Bill 215, this was the energy storage tax credit. If you'll recall, the committee extended it by 2 years and increased it by $1 million a year. The House took the increase off, left the extension, and then allowed it to terminate in 25 when the extension would terminate, and turned it into a grant program moving forward that would be subject to whatever appropriation the governor puts in for these grants.
Well, I see a pattern. All those in favor of the concurrence? This was my bill a couple years ago, so I will be voting yes.
Okay, I'll vote yes too.
For what it's worth, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, anything else? All right, let's see. You want to do the veterans one, the honorable discharge one?
Sure.
Senator King has 1380. Senator McCray, you got that Baltimore City one?
EHU's primary and 1380.
What?
EHU's primary and 1380.
Oh, we don't have to do that. All right, you're off the hook. What's that?
I just was confirming which bill 1390.
Yeah. Senator Solling, you want to do 449? Last one, the renters relief property tax? Okay, okay. I think we're covered except for Senator Hester's bill. I guess I'll do it. The joys of chairmanship.
You'll do a hell of a job.
I'll punt to her if we have to.
No shit.
Okay. What's that?
9:40. Oh, Senator Corbin.
Oh.
8:58. Oh, I mean, if you want to do it, you can do it. You can do it. All right.
I have one more.
Yeah.
You held House Bill 513 yesterday out of EE. Senator Eckert had a question on the cost. I got her the information. I don't know if she's okay to. With a $3 million mandate, which is like a $1.4 million increase over current funding.
Okay. Senator Eckert? Are you satisfied with the answer on House Bill 513,
Oh, it's just 5:13.
It's,
the infant?
yeah, it's not on the list, but it was held yesterday, and you had a question about the cost, and I got you the information via email.
What was it again? I'm sorry.
That's
Didn't
okay.
hear you.
So
513.
House Bill 513, thank you, House Bill 513, you guys are secondary. It's the Infant and Early Childhood Mental Health Support Services Program. We left yesterday with the question of the cost. The bill has a mandate of $3 million. It is codifying a current program that has some current funding. The delta to reach 3 would cost 1.4 million, so it's a $1.4 million increase for an existing program.
Fine. I'm okay. Thank you.
This cyber, we didn't alter that, right, from what we did, from what it was, the cyber, we didn't alter it.
Nope.
Okay,
I sent it already to Jenny's.
okay, what about, what's his name?
I don't know, do you want to vote House Bill 513?
Do you have a question about 513?
1205.
We're getting ready to do 513 and then.
Okay.
Yep. All right, 513. You've already explained it all.
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
All,
Do you
are
want
there
to
questions?
agree with EE?
513, are we going to agree, we're second.
You are.
So all we have to do is sign off on it for what they're worth. Senator Eckert was the one who had it on hold. She's feeling good about it now. All right. HB 513. Everybody good?
Yes.
All's in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Then you have a question, Senator Jackson, on 1205?
Actually, not a question. I mean, I served as joint chair. I'm not, so I,
You want to take the bill to the floor?
Before I came to the Senate, I'm actually still assigned there and,
He really knows
you know,
about this stuff.
I'll help you
All
out.
right.
I don't really know this bill, but, you know.
You know it better than I do, I'm sure.
I know the concept and I
You're the
figure by
new-
the time that the other two bills get exhausted, you know, the fight will be gone and we added a couple of the other folks as sponsors, so.
We've already sent copies of the reprints to minority leadership and to Senator Jennings, who seems to have an interest in it. But you are the new
And he's also.
floor leader.
And he's also a co-sponsor.
Yep. I'm actually going to take 3 copies over so I can put them in their hands. So we'll especially make sure that they've got it ahead of time. I'm sure they will do the same thing and try to special order maybe. I don't know. Maybe they won't on this one, but.
I'm probably not gonna object, but, yeah.
Great.
Okay, very good. Everybody good? Anything else? I'll see you back here after session.